Hello, third grade, and welcome to our reading practice for today. Please make sure that you are on Beach Day on Edulastic. Pause the video so you can get there now and split your screen. Now let's go ahead and begin. We'll be reading from the passage and answering the questions on the side. This will be very similar to the test we take next week. Let's begin. Beach Day. Now I'm going to move this to the side so I can make it a little bit larger. It might help me. That's right, let's begin. Beach Day. Margaret loved the feeling of the sand between her toes. It covered the tops of her feet, and they sank down deeper beneath the warm white grains. The sand here was powdery soft. It was like hot snow. Margaret thought to herself, as she moved her right foot along the surface. Excuse me. Writing letters on the beach. M.J.G., she wrote, making a little piece of the beach all hers for just a moment. She loved the beach, and she loved her name, Margaret Julia Gallagher. She was glad that she had a name that not a lot of girls she knew had. There were 6 Kates and 3 Jens in her homeroom. There was 1 Margaret in the 3rd grade, but they weren't in any of the same classes, and everyone called that girl Maggie. A boy dashed by, stepping right on her G. Another boy raced behind him, stomping across her initials. Margaret was too happy to care. "Come on, Margaret, let's get some sunscreen on you," her mother called. Her mother was setting up her umbrella and chairs closer to the water. Margaret sprinted over and put her towel down close to the umbrella so she could lie in the sun and easily move into the shade when it got too hot. "Sand on your hands?" Margaret asked her mom. As much as she loved the feeling of sand on her feet, she absolutely despised the feeling of sandy lotion being rubbed on her back. "No, Margaret, but if you wait any longer." She started to bend down, reaching her hands towards the sand. Margaret took off her sundress and walked over to her mom, who covered her head to toe in lotion, getting under her swimsuit straps in case they moved around. "Who wants to take a walk?" her mom asked. Margaret's mother was already absorbed in his Batman comic book, and her dad was already reading his book about some famous businessman with silly-looking hair. Margaret's mom shook her head at the 2 bookworms and smiled at Margaret. "Me!" Margaret said. They had been in the car for 3 hours, and Margaret was eager to stretch her legs. Plus, walks with Mom almost always came with an ice cream cone or a cup of lemon slush. It was never too early for ice cream and slush, in Margaret's opinion. They walked for a long time, staying by the water where the sand was cool and wet, and the bigger waves would just make it to their feet. "Look," Margaret said, pointing to a huge sandcastle ahead. "I can't believe I forgot. It's the annual sandcastle contest today," her mom said. Margaret was surprised to see how enthusiastic her mom was about the sandcastles. When they got closer, she understood why her mom was so excited. These sandcastles were works of art. The first one was a kingdom with a giant castle surrounded by a moat and a little village beyond the moat. Many of the others weren't actually castles. They were a dragon, a crocodile, a race car, and a mermaid, and even the Empire State Building. It was hard to believe that it was all made of sand. Margaret was amazed. Her mom told her that the artist spent hours planning and building them. Margaret decided that next year she would need to get to the beach early in the morning, the day of the sandcastle competition. She would have a lot to learn, or maybe a lot to build. All right, so after reading this passage, I want you to think about who wrote the story. What is the point of view? Who wrote the story? Was it from one of the characters' perspective in first person, or from the narrator's point of view? Number 1, you are going to answer on your own. What is the meaning of the word competition? Competition. Choose the one that applies the best. You can pause the video now and answer number 1. Number 2, what competition did they watch? Well, I'm going to go back and find my evidence and skim to find the word competition to see what they watched. I see contest right here, which is a synonym for competition, and it was the annual sandcastle contest. Choose a sandcastle contest. It might be different on yours than mine. Make sure you look for the words, not just the letter. And click Next. What is the main idea of the story? Remember, the main idea is what the whole story was about. Was the beginning of the story about the sandcastle competition? No, so that's not the main idea of the whole story. Why beaches are amazing? No, that's not what the whole story is about. Margaret's fun day at the beach? Well, yeah, at the beginning it said what she did at when she got to the beach, what she did while she was there for a little bit, what her brother did, and what they did when they saw the sandcastles. The main idea is Margaret's fun day at the beach. Go ahead and click Next after you choose the answer. Read the following paragraph. She loved the feeling of the sand between her toes. It covered the tops of her feet, and they sank down deeper beneath the warm white grains. The sand here was powdery soft. It was like hot snow. Margaret thought to herself as she moved her right foot along the surface, writing letters on the beach. Based on the evidence in this paragraph, how does Margaret probably feel about being at the beach? What is her opinion of the beach? Does it sound like she likes it? Does it sound like she doesn't like it? Well, it sounds like she likes it, so one of our answers will be that she likes it. She thinks it's boring because there's nothing to do. That doesn't explain that she likes it, so it is not that one. She thinks snow is better than the beach. That doesn't show her opinion that she likes the beach. She thinks it's annoying because the sand sticks to her feet. No, there wasn't evidence to support that. She enjoys the beach because she likes the feeling of the sand. Yes. This opinion shows that she likes the beach. Number 5, you will answer on your own. What paragraph talks about walks with her mom? Remember, paragraphs are chunks of text all about the same topic. So we have paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So which one talks about her walks with her mom? Number 6. We talked before we started answering the questions about the point of view. Now, in this question, it's using point of view like perspective, but we're looking at what her perspective is. How does she see the walks on the beach with her mom? We're going to start off by using our sentence stem. Margaret's, and I'm going to change point of view to perspective. Perspective is, so how does she think and feel about her walks on the beach? Well, we can see in this paragraph right here that she likes them because sometimes mom will get her ice cream. So is that she likes them, that I'm going to use the rest of my sentence stem and add my evidence, because her mom will sometimes get her ice cream or a lemon slush. Pause the video to type this out now. Number 7. What is Dad and brother's point of view about books? What is their perspective on books? Do they like them? Do they not like them? Go back and find your evidence and choose the answer that you think fits best. And finally, number 8. What is Mom's perspective on sandcastles? What is her perspective on sandcastles? Go back and find your answers and see what she thinks about sandcastles. Once you are finished with all of these answers, make sure you go back, check through them one more time, and then you may submit. Then you can move on to the next activity for today.